Professor Melly Mel, Next Level. Here in the lab, KM videos, where content is king. Good morning, Dahoodpostman, keyways, essays, and soul people. Soul people is inclusive of all people. Only people that only included in my spiel, or when I'm tapping in with my section, or tapping in with my people, is the top 1%. Those are the people that looks to inherit the earth, to control the earth, and make all the decisions. We're not having it no more. We witnessed a time where there's moral meltdown and spiritual breakdowns, and the president of these United States, so-called United States, stokes racial divides, and he's mad over protests. He's threatened to use vicious dogs and anonymous weapons to achieve his law and order, so to speak. I guess that's where he's coming from, but yet he's not taking in everything in its full context, for everything that's happening now is in direct consequence of his own actions. So until he take that into account and do that adding and subtraction, then he will not arrive at the right answer or equation. They can no longer expect us to entertain them in their sports, fight their wars, fulfill their prisons, and remain voiceless. We're not doing it. We're drawing the line. Their time has expired. It's time to renew and rebuild and look at things quite differently from where we did just a few days ago. If you're seeing people looting stores and that make you more upset than to see a racist cop strangle an unarmed, non-violent black man in the streets of Minneapolis or Minnesota, and that somehow makes you upset, then there's some things you probably need to check about yourself, because you're delusional and it doesn't look good. You know, as a person, many of you come from a Christian background, and I'm sure you had some type of bibliography teaching in your life to know what's right and what's wrong, if you follow the 10 Commandments. Now we have a burning desire. The burning desire is a starting position for all applied purpose in life. I am teaching power that I never learned in school, and I feel really good about that. You know, I'm sitting here wearing my Wu-Tang and speaking to the people and hoping that we can get to some things that are more benefit, more desirable, more gratuitous to people of color. Let me go in a little bit and try to tap in, you know what I mean, especially with my brown brothers and sisters. Let me try to help them understand, you know, how big this is, you know what I mean, and let them know, man, we're one and the same, and we got more things in common than we do not in common. First and foremost, 1500s was the start of Mexico in the 1500s, like 1519, I believe. And they were conquered by the Spaniards, the conquistadors, and that part of North America. See, because they like to call you guys illegal people or aliens or people who don't necessarily have rights in this country, but you have more rights in this country than they do. They entered your country through Veracruz, the port of Veracruz, and spread it throughout Mexico. And what you don't understand is that they made you Mexicans. You're Aztecs, and most of the North America is Aztecs, Mayas, and Incas. So those are your heritage, you know what I mean? But it was the Spaniards who conquered your people, and that's how you get all the Spanish names, you know. Prior to the 1500s, there was no such thing as Mexico. Mexico is something that along the way you just accepted, and that's what you became. And, you know, you learn to live with it and adapt. But here's the problem, the inherent problem with that. There's a lot of people that claim, that come from a Mexican background or Hispanic background or a Spanish-speaking background. And what they do is they conveniently travel between Spanish and European. In other words, when they doing applications and they doing contracts and everything, they conveniently, some of them, they're so light-skinned that they're able to say they're white. And this doesn't help you guys as a whole people, because those people will abandon you at the turn of a dime. And those are the people that are supporting Donald Trump at this very moment. And the moment you guys realize who's who and what's what, and then we all get on the court, we can barely achieve our goals in this society and not be knocked down by people who are agent provocateurs or people who don't mean the greater good for the overall people of color. So, and I'm not saying all white people are bad. There's some very good white people, not all cops and not all white people, but yet they think all Mexicans and black people are thugs. So, but we have some great white people in this country too, and then we're now witnessing those kids. Those kids are not their parents, or they're not their grandfathers. Those kids that you're seeing out here in these that's looting these malls and participating in all this anarchy, and you know what I mean, and fighting for George Floyd in this time is they're a different breed, man. But I respect them, man, because they out there doing their thing. They let you know, man, we do not support this Trumpism or whatever that life is. So just stay in tune, man, and try to be mindful, you know what I mean, and black people, you know what I mean. My hopes is for you is just to recognize that we have definitely one thing in common is being black. Second thing, if we can just get on the court with our religious beliefs and not be Muslim, Christian, Hebrew Israelite and all that. I just want us to be on one of accord, because if we be on one accord, that means we can join our resources, we can focus on the two good things that we have in common and build from that. That means we can take over ownership, we can have resources, and we control our local politics. When you control your local politics, you control what comes in and what goes out. You control the police department, you control your university and college, you control the industry, you have control over all that. But as long as we stay divided and we this and that and then the third and another, we cannot organize and come together. So regardless of what we call it, we all know that it all derived from African spirituality. A part of the thing that's happening today, the religious aspect of it, is that religion took African spirituality, changed the words, changed the faces, and changed the names, repackaged the whole Bible, then sold it back to you, and you accepted it. Yep, your religion first. It was your spirituality. And it was your words, and it was your faces, and it was your names. The names were not Paul, Luke, John, and those English names that those are interpretations or translations but don't necessarily meet for the people from which the reason the people came from. So let's just be mindful of these things and just be better at it, and continue to live, inspire to be the best you can, man, and just live from the heart. We are light, we are life, we are love, we are beauty, we are the sweet truth, we are our joyful thoughts. We see only the enlightened, and we ask that the Creator increases in intellect, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and purify our intellect and purify our mind, and give us His understanding too, and His intellect, and the tools to be the very best we can for all people. Soul people are inclusive. That means black, brown, red, green, yellow, whatever. Only people that's not in that are the 1%, and they are the I don't know how to even explain who they are, you know what I mean, but they're not of the human race, so to speak, because they don't act like it, man. If you look at Donald Trump, man, I don't know where he comes from, but he's a different kind of guy. He has no sympathy, empathy, moral fiber. He has no, he doesn't know how to gauge people, and more or less, in a lot of these people that own the police department, that's their whole point. They don't know how to approach the people within the city and know how to be attentive to protect and serve. Protect and serve means just that. We're taxpayers, we pay their salaries, so therefore they're supposed to service us, not come in and brutalize us, murder us, and attack us based on the color of our skin. Just because I'm black don't mean I'm guilty of anything. Quit doing that. It's not your job. Your job is to preserve it and protect. Yes. But anyway, preserve and protect. Professor Melly Mel, and I'm out.